I'm sorry for the technical hitch there. We had some difficulties in the sound. But I have my guest in the studio, Mr. Kwabena Mintah Kando, Honorable, is a former Deputy Minister, but also a Member of Parliament for Jabo. So good morning to you, my good friend.
Good morning, Roland.
You haven't been on this set
for some time now.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
You're welcome.
And you've not been looking for me as well.
I do look out for you. But we wish you all the best all the time.
Very well.
And that's the most important thing.
Very well.
And we have Dr. Okoboy. He's a Member of Parliament for, what's your constituency? Lejokuku. That place, the MPs only go once, so. You know?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay. But I'm sure you're going to break the record.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we had wanted him to be appointed the Deputy Minister of Health or something, or giving great tackle. It didn't happen. But we'll see. But Nanado Damkwe Kufado. It's not bad. He's a very good guy.
Roland, in
so
his old time, he makes all things beautiful.
where do you church?
Baptist.
Ah, that's right. Baptists are like that.
Akando. You know, why did you bring Akando this morning?
But you know, Akando is an MP in a farming or cocoa growing.
So you.
But your government, I'm on you. Your government.
Oh.
Your government.
Yeah.
When the government was campaigning, the government said, "Oh, fertilizers were not being shared adequately to cocoa farmers, etc." Now your government says that it is subsidizing, but rather cocoa farmers would have to pay something for fertilizers. I find it mind-boggling that that should be a policy. What do you think about it?
Yeah, Roland, first of all, let me say a very good morning to all your viewers and to our father, the president of the country, His Excellency Donald Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and all regional executives, and to my people in Lejokuku, and to my senior here, Mr. Kando. You know, I don't know what you find puzzling or baffling about it. So, in your opinion, they should all be given for free, or what is it? I want to know what you are saying. You said we are saying we'll subsidize. So have you
been reading the statements and the comments?
Yeah, from Cocoa Board. Okay. Yeah, but from the inference I get from you is that it should be sort of given to them for free. There was a distortion as to availability in the past. What we talked about, distortion. Some people were getting fertilizers. Other farmers were alleged not to get, and also there was some abuse in the system. Akando is from this cocoa growing area. What was alleged is that the fertilizers that government had subsidized by then or had made available, people were siphoning it into other ventures. So what we said was that we are going to ensure that there is some transparency and proper management of the process. If fertilizers are subsidized, they have to get to the target, that's the farmers. And Roland, you know, you can promise that you, let's say, give 80% subsidy. But when you look at when you are giving the balance sheets and you look at the standing of an organization, you have two choices. Either you go strictly to what you have said and then put them in a financially unstable situation, or try to find a middle ground where you have some degree of relief given to the farmers, but at the same time make sure that financially they are stable over the medium and long term. So those will be my initial comments. When I hear my brother as to the very critical issues that they have, then I would know how to approach it.
He's dodging the issue then. But the minority, apart from this, you also have concerns about a decision by Cocoa Board not to increase the producer price for cocoa farmers. But let's first talk about the fertilizer issue, and then we'll do the transition to the next issue.
No problem. Roland, you see, the backbone of this economy is cocoa. You can't afford to toy with cocoa in this country, okay? And so it's a very sensitive area. In the wisdom of the former regime, we thought that if you're talking about the yield of cocoa, you're talking about application of fertilizer. So if you apply fertilizer, you can get more yield. We realized that if you are coming from you appreciate it more if you are coming from the cocoa growing area. I was born and bred in the cocoa community. I was schooled by Cocoa Cash. You realize at a point in time within the year, even if you ask the cocoa farmer, 20 Ghana cedis is very difficult for the cocoa farmer. But in as much as it is the person's property, the country also gets a lot of money from the cocoa. So the more we get the yield, the more the country also gets the forex. So the government decided to distribute the cocoa fertilizer free of charge to the cocoa farmer. Now, it is not any rocket science. It's not as if government went and borrowed some money to buy the cocoa fertilizer. It is part of the producer price. So in the formula, it is such that they will deduct cocoa rows, they will deduct cocoa scholarships, they will deduct mass spraying, they will deduct fertilizer from it. So that that money will be given, that fertilizer will be given to the cocoa farmer free of charge. Well, I didn't do language in school or languages in school. So I find it very difficult to understand if somebody says, I have subsidized something. It is when you are buying that particular item at a price that somebody comes to say, look, you were buying it at 2 cedis, so now buy it at 1 cedi.
So you're saying previously
it was for free. So how do you subsidize it? This is a deception. This is 419. The people, the government, the former regime was giving the fertilizer free of charge to the cocoa farmers. And now you come, you say they should buy the cocoa fertilizer, the 1 bag of cocoa at 80 Ghana cedis per bag.
How much was it being sold?
That is the question. Now you are subsidizing. That thing was free.
You mean it was free?
It was free. I am a cocoa farmer myself. And I come from the single largest producer of cocoa district in this country. Yes, in Ghana. Jabosu. So I know what I'm talking about. You can be reading from books. But I'm talking about the practical things happening on the ground.
That's where you grow up.
That's where I grew up.
And that's
what I've been doing. And that is what is on the heart of the people most. That's the main occupation of the people in my constituency. You understand? And so if you come and say that you are going to sell that fertilizer that the farmer was getting free of charge, 80 Ghana cedis per bag, it means that somebody who had 100 bags of cocoa fertilizer during the last year, the person will necessarily have to cough some 8,000 Ghana cedis somewhere, without which you cannot apply fertilizer to your cocoa.
Or you cannot apply same quantum.
Well, but you
maybe that farmer could afford.
I'm telling you, see, I'm saying that if you appreciate this if you come from the area.
Okay.
You know. Yeah. What I would beg my brother to appreciate and understand is that you don't need to come from Teshi or Lejokuku before you can speak about fishing issues or the industry. I see a lot of emphasis on his coming from the area. I appreciate that. But some things are facts. Until 2014, fertilizers were being given to farmers on a subsidy sort of arrangement. It was from 2014, his year, that this free fertilizer program started. And I'm happy he mentioned that they were being given, they were taking the cost from the price, like the mass spraying, all was being deducted. My brother, they are socialists. It's a social democratic party. So I'm not surprised they say that we will give fertilizers for free. Venezuela, where they say they are giving things for free, a communist country, a socialist country, people queue at the supermarket to get milk. Free markets have a way of making sure that outputs are significant, people succeed. If you have a free fertilizer program, and yet not all the farmers are able to access the fertilizers. If you have a free fertilizer program, it must reflect in the tons that the country produces. It's simple. You can compare the free fertilizer program to the subsidized fertilizer program by looking at the tonnage that we put out. If within 3 years you have free and your tonnage is coming down, it means there's a problem. The fact that it's free does not mean that it's the most efficient way to manage the industry. And look, because money was being deducted from source, it comes back to the centralization of the management of fertilizer. What it means is that when they take the money from the source, like he said, from the price, they will take the price of fertilizer from it, so that when it comes to you, it's already taken care of. It means one person, or how do you call it, the distribution of fertilizer is being managed from the top. Let the fertilizer be subsidized. Let everybody have access to the fertilizer. That is better. And let me use this hypothetical stuff. If you have 1 million cocoa farmers and you have a free program that allows fertilizer to reach, let's say, 30%, 300,000, Roland, and then a subsidized one that reaches 900,000. What it means is that the subsidized program is going to have a greater impact than the free. So please, the free started 2014. Let us look at the figures as a country and then compare based on the outcomes. And it's just like economics. What Baumia said was that you can toy with the figures, but the exchange rate will really show. whether this is an economy that's
I'm
stable.
struggling to get your this
No,
your,
no, no. Oh, Roland,
this your
Roland,
economic
please,
values.
let me learn. What
and
I'm
the
saying is
indicators
that
you're
what
trying
I'm saying is that when you have a fertilizer program,
Yes,
whether it's free or subsidized, the impact is supposed to reflect on the tonnage of what cocoa that is
I don't
produced in the
understand.
country. So if you
Why
have
is
let's
it
say,
managed efficiently?
no, exactly. So if you have 500
That's okay.
tons,
That's
no,
okay.
let me learn. If you have 500 tons of cocoa being produced, and then from 2014 you start this free program, and it goes to 800,000 tons, then we know that all right, it is giving us a how do you call it, a positive impact. But if it's either the same or dwindling, it means that it's just a name, but impact is zero.
Roland, I was landing on the criminal aspect of the whole matter, and that is why I was drawing your attention to the fact that the thing was taking, the free aspect was taken care of in the computation or in the formula. There's a criminal aspect there. We've drawn the attention of the government, and they are still insisting. I mean, struggling to defend this issue, and I don't get it. Look, during the 2016-2017 cocoa year, government has already paid for the fertilizer. 2016-2017 cocoa season.
This period.
This period
You are saying that the free fertilizer scheme
has already been paid for.
But listen, I had wanted to invest in the industry sometime, so I made some questions. Yeah. And I know that the yield period is in March, right?
No, we have the light crop and we have the.
So the March period is what?
So now we are in the light crop season.
Okay, that's
yeah. So the major season will start somewhere September, October,
October,
yeah,
up to.
Yeah, the next
quarter.
Yeah, the
of
next.
The
you
next
see that we always
so it means that your funding period has been exhausted, right?
No, that's don't get it wrong. Whatever, 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018. Before you begin the 2017, 2018, the lower limit, the lower date. That's where you start doing your preparation. You buy your fertilizer because you have to import the fertilizer. And you have to make some payments and all that before they come and meet the next season. So the point I'm making is that government had already paid for.
So you are saying this crop season has
been paid for. That's the point I'm making. So if the farmer has already paid for this fertilizer and you sell it back to the farmer, what are you doing? That's the point I'm making. So we are saying that if it is your policy that because we are social democrats, and we want to give the fertilizer free of charge, and you disagree with that, that's your policy. Ghanaians have voted for you, you can go ahead to do that. But then, the Ghanaian farmer has paid for this particular one, so don't sell it to him. If you do that, you are cheating the farmer.
Relax, I know you're very emotive about this.
And you see, I'm coming. The issue of it's you not coming from, I'm not saying that the fact that you don't come from the area doesn't mean you cannot talk about topical issues in this country. I've already indicated that it's the backbone of the economy. Everywhere is cocoa, and about 70% of the population depends on cocoa. So that's not what I was saying. But I'm saying that you can understand the issues better. You understand the fishing industry better than me, and I should understand that. So that's where I was coming from. But the issue of the tonnage, and because if you don't manage it, where people are not getting, and the issues and all that. Look.
Is it not true?
Roland,
is it not true that the tonnages by way of the output have been reduced?
It's not true. That's not true.
Okay, so educate me.
They have been comparing it with the 1 million metric ton.
In 2010.
If you remember, in 2010, yes, I remember. But that was a smuggling figure, and I insist on that. And we witnessed the same thing this year because the cocoa are coming from Cote d'Ivoire in tons. I checked boundary with Cote d'Ivoire. It's coming from Cote d'Ivoire in tons.
Because of instability.
Exactly. The system, the Cote d'Ivoire system is different from the Ghana system. Cote d'Ivoire, they don't have a central market like Ghana. So it's like private, it's like they buy maize in this country.
And they go and sell.
They go and sell. Everybody.
At an open market.
An open market. So
they don't have a kind of a commodity.
Exactly.
Market.
So within a month, it can just be fluctuating like that. So Cote d'Ivoire system is different from
But they
Ghana.
produce better than ours.
No, not better. In terms of quality, in terms of quantum. In terms of quality, we have better. And that is why when they say that the farmers are not going to get bonus, again, I don't understand. Where is the premium money going to? Because after even selling the Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, and Ghana, after selling our cocoa on the world market, we get premium because of the quality of our beans. So where is that money going to? And the issue of, say, somebody getting the fertilizer, somebody was also not getting all that. The cheapest way to deal with this issue is to say, because some people were not getting them, go and sell everything. It's the cheapest way.
Okay.
Do you understand?
But let me ask you this question. I know you're blocking me from asking. Why is it that it became a campaign issue? And I particularly remember that we had even gone as a station to some of those farming areas, some of the farmers said the cocoa distribution at the fertilizer distribution to the cocoa farmers at the time was skewed towards only party sympathizers, etc.
Fantastic.
2, some of the fertilizers were being smuggled. 3, some of them were being sold on the open market. And so those that did not have access to them would have to go and buy on the open market. That gives a justification for the MPP.
No, not at all. Not at all. Even, in fact, that is even the more reason why they should look at the free system.
The subsidy the free distribution program. And try to monitor it better, you say.
Exactly.
So you were incompetent at it?
No.
Or inefficient
in any policy, if you bring a policy out, you don't think that you not have loopholes in the policy. People try to take advantage of the policy. But the fact that people are taking advantage of the policy doesn't mean that you should scrap the policy. That is where you should think deep. You should look through it. Let me tell you one of the things we were going to do. And His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, when he came to my constituency, he told the people that, look, I've heard, and we have reports indicating that people are smuggling the cocoa and the fertilizer, and that it's also getting to some, hands that they are not supposed to get there. And so what we're going to do was that, listen carefully, what we're going to do was that we'll put the cocoa fertilizers at stores, shops, farmers' input stores. Then we'll give the cocoa farmer the quantity you deserve on your wallet. For example, if one is bought at, let's say, 1 Ghana cedis and you need 10, we'll give the cocoa farmer 10 Ghana cedis on your wallet in the form of a coupon. Like, for example, goil, they'll give you a coupon. You can only use it to buy fuel.
Like a coupon.
Exactly.
Kind of
you can't use it to buy any other thing apart from.
So that's what you use. Is that cheat you go and use?
You use and then you take it.
You're free.
So if you don't have that cheat, you can't.
So that was that was having done your monitoring and evaluation.
Exactly.
That was your recommendation.
That was our recommendation.
So that you can better improve the system.
Better improve the system. But
unfortunately, he didn't get elected.
Of course. So
you want the MPP to adopt this sort of solution?
So the solution is not to scrap completely the system. You are talking about diversion. The people will divert it more at this point in time because now it is in the free market. I'm going to use my money to buy it. Government has subsidized. Don't forget. You are saying you have subsidized it. If I'm not a farmer, I've gone to buy my fertilizer in the open market. I'm sending it to Cote d'Ivoire. How will you check me? So because if it was for free, you write on the bags, not for sale. So even if it is in the market, you have the right to go and check it.
So this one, the not for sale will be there. Will not be there.
Will not be there. The thing is in the market.
So it's a free open market.
It's a free thing, and that is why I'm saying that they should think through the thing. If you don't know, you can ask.
Okay.
You understand? And we'll judge, we'll debate the issues.
Now let's come to the next.
They are even worsening the situation of diversion.
I was a trouble.
Roland, let me just.
But no. You're not making. No. Let me ask questions, Dr. Okoboy. Now convince me. If something is being distributed for free, albeit poorly monitored, etc., it's not because it's been mismanaged by the politician. But this one goes for a price. How would I be convinced as a neutral that rather the yields will be better under a system where the fertilizer, although subsidized, will be purchased at a fee, at the point of purchase?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, he mentioned that, he mentioned crime, something was criminal that they are paid for. You know, these are strong, very emphatic, conclusive statements which are unhealthy for our debate because he must be able to point the exact breach that has occurred and where but I mean you can't sit here and determine criminality within your own confines just like that. You know, it takes a lot to conclude that somebody has so that's my and then secondly, he said something not for sale because it's free. When a product has been subsidized, you can also indicate on it the subsidized product, not for sale. Not for so you state the confines, the jurisdiction within which it should be sold. It's like a book brought from UK. When it says they say
so they'll do what? Not for sale outside Ghana.
No. Yes, but that is clear. Not for sale outside Ghana. It means it's only meant for.
It can be sold and rebagged.
No. But the same, and you let me answer that. You know, the subsidized program was what preceded the free program. So at least for that, we've had that program running in this country until the free one came. So we've had that one in our system, within our jurisdiction. And we have a fair idea of the challenges that come with it. And over the years, we've been able to manage it. Roland, you know, from 2000 and, 2001, when the MPP took office during President Kufuor's time, I think we were doing an average of about 370,000 metric tons. We put in an intervention, which is the mass spraying. And he is here to witness that at a point we hit 1 million. It's very sad that coming from a cocoa growing area, he attributes that tremendous achievement to smuggling. What it means, what he is telling
us. At the time, that was real. No, I remember.
No, I know. But to mention that particular factor as the reason for the 1 million, what it means is that you undermine the other factors that were put in.
Do you understand? Let me say something. Do you know that whatever yields or outputs we'll get this time will be attributed to poor or good management by the old cocoa board management? Do you know?
No,
and even though it's under this current...
it's a number of factors. It's a number of factors.
But
their management, the smuggling, but you should not get the impression that it is only the smuggling.
And I'm told that the producer price will not be increased. Why?
I'm happy. If you look at what Cocoa Board came with, he knows they have a producer price review committee that looks at the current prices, whether comparing to the world prices that are offered. And you go through a system of, calculations to see whether increasing the price, it's a, it's a business friendly or business sensible step. Roland, this particular government is very much interested in the welfare of cocoa farmers. And if the price we are getting for cocoa on the world market, based on the balance sheets of the cocoa board, the ability to pay, if it allows us to increase the prices of the cocoa per ton, we will generously do that. You understand? What we will not do is to give out prices that will make you popular, but will put you in a financially difficult situation over the medium and long term. And you know, that is, I'm happy I always got this lesson from one of my lecturers. He said the difference between a businessman, a private businessman, and a politician or a public-run company is that the public-run company looks at popularity, how popular they will be with the voter, whereas the businessman looks at profits and stability. So there must be a fine balance, and I appreciate the fact that it is this fine balance that is making them not be in a haste to increase the prices. When you increase the price, we could have increased the prices.
But you're saying eventually to be increased, though.
No, but it depends on the balance of factors, the world prices, the yield, and all that. If the money we are getting for cocoa on the world market and the financial situation of the cocoa board allows them to increase, why not? We'll hurry up to do that, because that's good news and that's popularity for the government. But we know it is not financially prudent. That's why we are saying that based on the current review, as much as possible. And there's a stabilization fund. Cannot knows more about this than myself. The stabilization fund is to ensure that assuming the world prices fall below what you are giving them, we don't reduce the prices they are getting. At least exactly. So these are some of the reasons.
There's a certain buffer.
Yes.
I think that's not wholly true, because...
You mean what they are saying is hogwash?
No, you see, I was even advising the cocoa board that if they think that they are defending their bosses, they better keep quiet, because they will do a lot of harm to them than exactly. You know, what's going on is bizarre. It is never the responsibility of the CEO or the chairman, the board chairman, to come out.
Is that what we're seeing currently?
It's all over. You can Google and you see the board. The chief executive came out that to tell Ghanaians that this season, this crop year, nobody is not going to increase the producer price. That is not your business. We have what you call producer price review committee, and they determine that. And that's what really happened. You know, it has never happened before in this country that there has been a time where government has increased producer price and then within some time we will go back. It has never happened before. So it is not as if it is for the maintenance of the producer price. That is why the stabilization fund was created. The stabilization fund was created because government thought that, look, all days are not equal. So at a point in time, we may be facing some hardship, so that we will use it to cushion the farmers, the cocoa farmers, the producer price, those who produce, to cushion the farmers. You understand? So the least of it all is to maintain the price. So if you have a levy that I can think of not less than $300 million, more than $300 million sitting there as a stabilization fund. And now, you are saying that the cocoa farmer should go and take part of his money, to go and buy the fertilizer that he was giving free. And then you tell that same cocoa farmer, look, I'm not going to do cocoa roads. You tell that same cocoa farmer that, look, I'm not going to increase your producer price. What are you talking about? What are you using the stabilization fund for?
What did they say? Don't do the cocoa roads?
Yes, it's in their budget. That's why I brought this document. It's in their budget. It's in it. If you like, I can read it for you.
It's not in the budget?
It is in the budget that they are not going to do any cocoa roads this year. It is in the budget that they are going to sell.
Well, I thought another was campaigning saying the roads. And
Fantastic.
And then your candidate said was sleeping.
That is the 419 aspect of it.
Oh, what do you mean by 419?
Well, that is it. Deception all over. You know, you say one thing when you want power and another when you get power. And this is clearly deception. You know, and so the point I was making is that because there is that many available, and in any case, who tells you tomorrow the price can go up? If you like, Google it, check it now, and tomorrow check it. So the price keeps fluctuating. So if you are going to start the main season September, October, why do you rush and say that you are not going to increase the producer price? So we are saying, number one, that look, it is not the responsibility of the CEO or the chairman to determine the producer price. They should come again. Number two, we are telling them that the fertilizers that they are selling to the cocoa farmers, they have paid for it already. So they should give it to them free of charge.
You mean the current? The
current one. So that even in future, if you decide to sell, then probably if you get there, we'll debate those ones. You understand? And so
that's why you say it's fraudulent.
That's why I'm saying that it's fraudulent. Because I know.
I get your point.
I know as a matter of fact. It's been catered for.
The next crop
and we drew the attention on the floor of the House during the budget debate. I remember vividly that Honorable Eric Opoku raised this point. That look, Mr. Minister, this is what is going on. And so you better check it out. But they never, but like my good friend Oko is doing here, struggling, defending, and doing all manner of things.
That's why he's defending the indefensible.
Yes.
He's struggling.
He's struggling to defend it. Because if you go to the ground, the people are really suffering. Okay, what are you using that? Tell them, what are they using the stabilization fund for?
We'll be ending the show, this episode very soon. But let's look at, still on agriculture. Is it planting for
food and jobs?
Planting for food and jobs, that program. I heard the minister late night before the news day closed, saying that apparently there have been shortages of seedlings. We're talking food and planting for
food and jobs.
Planting for food and jobs. The Ministry of Agriculture, the government also didn't know that there will be shortages. We didn't have enough banks for seedling production. We didn't envisage that.
Roland, I wanted to say it's simple, but it's simple and not simple at the same time. You know, the Planting for Food and Jobs is a massive program that is being rolled out across the country. As a country, in the agri sector, we already have a department where we handle and manage seeds and all that. I mean, for maize, beans, cocoa, and all that. That department is responsible for the stock we have and also for the varieties that we have. But Roland, over the years, I think their capacity is below the demands of this program, this national program. That's why the minister said that at the end of the day, to meet the yield that we are looking at, we have to tap into Burkina and import some seeds. Now, the fact that we are importing seeds does not mean this will be the practice over the years. The program is starting. And anyone who is in business or any project management will tell that in operationalizing a policy, you cannot envisage all the blocks or the challenges along the way. You cannot. But it's true, Roland. If you've handled any project before, ask the one who owns this enterprise whether all the challenges that are involved in running this enterprise, he envisages.
Sometimes you have to roll out.
Exactly.
And then you take,
yes. Sure. And
for projects.
Exactly. So this is a massive project. It's a national project. So when you encounter any setback or any challenge, you are judged by your ability or capacity to go around it and make sure that the program does not collapse.
Okay.
So I don't get surprised when someone who is handling a national program faces a challenge or a block. What I look at is the attitude of the manager in dealing with the challenge. And you know, we inherited this. We live in a country where now we import, vegetables, tomatoes from Burkina Faso.
So it means on the local market itself, we don't have.
No, but this is a fact. We know we import a lot of foods from Burkina. And what people say is that, look at the climate in Burkina. It is a shame on us that we import some of these things. So it is for us to investigate and to find out why their tomato stays about 2-3 weeks longer on the shelf than ours. These are one of the reasons why the market women prefer the ones from Burkina. And it's because of the technology, the seeds they are using. And so beyond this, we'll also be looking at making sure that we have improved seeds. Look, there's a clear connection between technology application and output when it comes to agriculture. In the past, we thought that any seed will give you the same thing, but now we know that there are improved seeds
in the modern era.
In the modern era, so we have a lot to learn, and as we roll out this program, all these factors will be considered. We have to strengthen the seeds department to make sure that they improve their services, and then Roland, hopefully the objectives or the planting for food and jobs will be realized.
I like your submission. It sounds convincing, don't you think?
Roland, before I come to this substantive issue, let me conclude on the cocoa issue.
You are done.
No, let me conclude on it that even the so-called subsidized cocoa fertilizer is not even in the system. And don't forget that one of the major factors of application of fertilizer is the timing. We're in a rainy period. So if, as I speak to you today, we don't even have one bag of fertilizer in Jaboso, when are you bringing it? And that leads me to planting for food. Because Nanaju was in a hurry, you know, they do things haphazardly. I am telling you, I mean, let's face it. Which month are we?
We're in June, eh?
We are in June.
Today, June 22nd.
We are in June.
June 22 now.
Now.
Okay.
And then when did even the budget even get to Parliament? When did we approve it? Don't forget, we are talking about planting and it has a season. You must think through all these things. There are some of the issues
so
you can easily avoid.
The first year budget.
Exactly. Because the time we even approach
seasonal,
you understand,
because we don't do irrigational.
Fantastic. This is my point. The time we even approved the budget. You see, if you are going into agri, I am a farmer myself. I do plantain, I do maize, I do cocoa, I do rice. We have what you call seed production. It doesn't mean you should go and plant the seed in US. But there's a different set of conditions governing the seed production. You can produce the seeds in Ghana, but under different conditions. In fact, under normal circumstances, they will tell you that they prefer producing the seeds under irrigation.
Okay, so let me ask you. You think that maybe the first year should have been used in
preparation? Not to go and give the money to people to chop free of charge.
So the first year should have been used in contacting the farmers,
knowing the realities on the ground,
locating their areas. Then the next point, how do we produce seeds for the next season? And then the next season, there's a budget.
You understand? Now, we have had a report in the system, somewhere in the northern part of the country, that the planting for food, fertilizer, and the things that are going there is being smuggled to Burkina Faso. Haven't you heard it? It was in the system about 2 weeks ago.
Well, those are media speculation.
You are saying speculation?
Well, the media speculates. I don't have to.
So you can find out. That's why you are a media person. I'm not. So you can follow the story.
Well, you have your ears on the ground too.
So you see. So these are some of the things that, as I speak to you now, if you send fertilizer or some of the input to the areas, they will be there for the next season because the rains have already started.
They've passed.
They've passed. The period for. So it's only. I mean, you'll be making noise, and at the end of the day, you go and keep it somewhere, and somebody will take advantage of it and mishandle the things, and you come back. And so the planting for food, actually, I am telling you, I'm not a prophet of doom. We are not going to see any results. We are only making noise about it.
You mean the first year?
The first year.
Okay.
You understand? For me, I believe in agriculture.
Do you believe that it's a good initiative?
Well, anything agric is very good.
Okay.
I believe that I still don't understand why
it's good that you believe that the food... Planting for food and
but that's not, you see, let me tell you that this. We brought it.
At least you believe.
No, but we brought it.
Oh, you too.
No. So you don't know this one too.
NDC didn't bring food planting for food. Oh, did you bring planting for food and jobs?
We started this program. I'll give you document. I'll share with you document and how we started this program. You see, that's one thing about MPP. They don't give recognition or credit where it's due. You know, and so anything. I mean, that
your point has been made.
that has already been started. They will think that...
Now the politics is over. Your point has been made.
Well, if you say so, this platform is for you.
He's my senior, so no one I don't...
No, but at the end of the day, he's raising very substantial points.
It's you know...
Yeah. The rainy season is over. And for many of the crops you want to plant, they are cocoa crops.
No. They are serious.
Roland.
So the things you want to plant, they are edible. They're supposed to be taken at a period...
They are in a hurry. They are in a hurry.
Post-output.
They are in a hurry.
Post-harvest.
I can understand.
I'm happy... At the point you said the politics is enough or issue.
No, the last one was a politics. But what he raised were serious issues.
Yeah, Roland, there is a lot of good that comes from a critic. That's why when I'm with people on a discussion, I'm not in a hurry to attack them.
Oh, you are not in a hurry?
No.
When an is in a hurry, you say you are not in a hurry.
Roland, you know, the good that comes from a critic is that a critic points out some of the...
Please go on to your points.
Yeah, yeah. No, let me make this. Some of the issues that you have to look at, you the one in the chair.
Because you have failed.
So, yeah, so, no. So I appreciate, that's the essence of having a critic or someone in opposition. And it's very good. It does a lot of good if you listen. So we are listening to the points, but those that need to be addressed, those ones...
What do you think about his points? The things
no.
he's raising?
Oh, I mean
very tangible.
Most of them are genuine. But some also can be, like when I mentioned not being able to foresee all the challenges you come across, but having the capacity and the patience to deal with them and all that. So, to a larger extent, we will look at some of these issues and make sure that the program succeeds. When it succeeds, he's a farmer, we will all benefit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You see, what this thing can do, and as a matter of fact, if we do and do it well and we don't politicize it, what this thing can do is that we'll be able to compete with the foreign market. For example, if government goes into the production of rice, usually the price for the local rice are more expensive in the market than the foreign one. Why should it be so? Because of the cost in producing the local rice. So if government comes, if you go to the developed countries, for example, they give the input to the farmers sometimes about 35 years, and they'll be paying. And that is why the former regime entered into a negotiation with the Brazilian government, and they brought a lot of input, combined harvesters, tractors. Go there today. There are a lot available.
Those combined harvesters, some of them run into allegations.
That's what?
Okay, so let's go into the subject of security.
All right.
Okay, in which we're told that a Nigerian apparently has a Ghanaian passport, not only for himself, but also has it for his children and wife. But that Nigerian is not mean Nigerian.
Were the children born here?
No, not born here. They relocated here. And just look at him. That's him. He's a kidnapper. And his ransom sum up to about $8.5 million. At a point in time, one ransom could go for 1 million euros. He has properties in Accra, properties in Nigeria. The reason why we're raising this is that, you know, you poor MPs, your ESBs are still being paid. I know the check-bound ones, the other one is still ongoing. So the period of payment is, and you poor the political elite. If we have people like this in our country, and these things are going on in a neighboring country, those people relocate here. It should be a concern for all of us. I'll start with you, Mr. Kando.
Yeah, the security of every nation should be the priority of the nation. The number one thing that we should all be thinking about. But we all, as much as the ultimate responsibility lies with the president or, the number one gentleman of the nation, we all have a role to play. The media, the individuals, and what have you. How come he was able to secure for himself a Ghanaian passport? We all have a role to play. At a point in time, if they give you the form, there are columns where you have to get somebody to guarantee for you, even somebody of a stature in the community to even endorse for you. You understand? When I get such opportunities and I'm talking to people, the citizenry, I try to appeal to them and then draw their attention to what they can also do. What the government should do, it is only when we tell them and they are refusing to understand, that's why we come and sit here and then tell them, this is what we are telling the government. But you and I, sometimes people bring documents to me to endorse, to, give them whatever. You may testimonial. You may even not know the people. Once you attempt even to prove that, they may think that you don't want to cooperate, you are being wicked and all that. But these are the issues. Somebody has relocated here and he has been able. It is either one, that the system, they compromise the system when they go to the passport people, they are there, or we, the citizens, facilitated all these things. We connive.
And condone.
Condone. We see, we got to a point. We have now gotten to a point where our biodata, is being taken and all that. But the machine cannot determine whether or not you are a Ghanaian. The machine cannot determine whether or not you are a Ghanaian. It is only when we have a specific identity card, a national sort of, that we have a database, that they will have something to compare with so they can refer whether or not you are a Ghanaian. You understand? And so we all have a role to play. And the society has become such that they only look at the worth of a person. This person has a lot of money, and so it is the level of the money that earns you the respect, And so these things, we must, wherever you live, you must also be very sensitive to your environment. You see the kind of work the person does, and he will be coming home with all sorts of cars and be changing, building mansions within months and all that. We should be drawing the attention of the security people to all this. If you go to a developed country, an old woman or old man may be peeping through his window and can give a lot of credible and very pertinent, very crucial information to the security agencies for the betterment of the country. You understand? So I think that this is what has come up and we are discussing. There are a lot in the system we have not seen yet. So these days, our security is not the best. It is not the best. And I think that the level at which it's going, we must better set up in order to
it's always assumed as for journalists, we don't have money. So usually when the kidnappers, let's say, invade Ghana, they'll come to you, the politician, because assume you, the businessman, the politician, you have money, and even, let's say, the pastors. It should be a concern for you, especially once you're an MP.
Yeah, Roland, you know, if you have kids and you see the attachment you have to them, when we talk about kidnapping, you might think it's a distant phenomenon until one of your relatives or kids gets kidnapped. Then you appreciate why people will be willing to pay huge sums of money and not even speak about it because of all the dangers and complexities. But what I want to say is that the established systems in Europe and the Western world, they were built based on the wrongs that they experienced. For every wrong, they investigate it, go into it, look at the loopholes that allow the wrong to be done, and then block it. Look at this passport issue. It's an opportunity to have a deep sense of understanding of how people are using the system to make money, give passports to the wrong people. This is an opportunity. Set up an investigative board, a committee. You'll be able to track. This is an opportunity. Track and see how weak our systems are at the passport office or how strong they are. It's an opportunity. So that we can save the country from giving passports to others who would either come to harm us or put our name in shame. That's the first point. The second point also is to take a serious look at this assets declaration, not only by politicians. Any individual or citizen in Germany, America, or the established systems, when they realize that your assets overwhelm your living, what you earn, they visit you. The laws allow it. So that they ask questions. And when they start asking questions, you know it is not out of hatred or envy or covetousness for what you have.
It's a normal thing.
It's a normal thing. And you know what? That is what allows a community to be moral on the whole. Not because they go to church a lot, but because the system is such that what you have, you should be able to prove. And so nobody judges you based on how much you have, because they have a fair idea of what the average person gets. You know I have white friends who tell me that the cars they see being driven on the streets of Accra, it takes a long time for them to see some of these cars in Europe.
They tell you?
Yeah, they tell you all the time. From the airport to maybe where you stay, they go like, wow, this is serious. Because the number of four-wheel drives they see, in Europe, it's small cars. You know, so we must see how to establish systems that will let some of these things come down. And let me talk about the third one, which is collaboration. The free flow of citizens along the West African coast allows not only business, but also facilitates crime. Like, what I mean is that when you create a convenient environment for business, that can be abused also when it comes to the illegal. And that is why security agencies must collaborate strongly, not only for symbolic pictures of attending conference, but they really must be working with each other, giving information about individuals whose actions and operations and wealth make them suspicious. Yeah. You know, not wait until, because the last I think the IGP of Nigeria was in Ghana. Don't wait until one kidnapper comes before you visit. Let these visits be frequent. Look, I know a lot of Nigerians, and please, this without malice to them, who are in my community in Lejokuku. I meet them at places and I go like, wow, these guys, you don't know the work they do, but they drive Range Rovers. You see them in Camrys, and during the day, when people should be going out to work, you see them just sitting out, hanging out, drinking, and they have place they park. And my brother, you must show concern, because when you see somebody maintain a particular lifestyle, where I know that I need to be going out in the morning and coming in the night before I can even maintain half of that, but he is just having things cool, and yet still maintain a life. The question is that what is sustaining the fellow? You see, so these are some of the questions that we must ask ourselves, and we must be proactive as a country to make sure that we are able to address some of these issues.
As we wind down this argument, or perhaps this discussion on the subject of security, where should we take the fight to? Because now well, you don't know how to argue, and then you are accused of being homophobic.
Yeah.
But we also know that, I remember initially they used not to bring their cars here. We used to have only TG cars, Togo cars.
Yeah.
Now, the police even allow the Lagos and the Ikeja and the Abuja cars more freeway than even a Ghanaian car. They stop and waste time on you than even a Nigerian car, because of course they have enough to spend, etc.
Yeah.
Where should the vigilance be? How should we know that we should be patriotic enough and do what is right? Because we live in a world where we can't prevent people from entering our country or coming to stay in our country. But then we need people who will live in the country genuinely. Yeah,
there's a thin line. If you're not very, very careful,
yes,
especially within the sub-region,
you say you are discriminating.
You are discriminating, and but we can also not take our security for granted. And so these days, you even see those cars in the night. You know, it's mind-boggling. But I think that the security at the entry point, that's where we have to be very, very vigilant at the entry point, and then try to, scrutinize them very well before they get access to the country. And then if they get in, whilst they are in their country, no other security agency will have jurisdiction over your country. So Nigerians or the security people agencies in Nigeria cannot have jurisdiction over Ghana. And so when they enter, when they come here, where they live, that's where we should also especially look, whether you like it or not. Nigerians are known for their flamboyant lifestyle in this country. I mean, face it. Unless, of course, you are being coward and you don't want to face the fact.
But it's also because the Ghanaian, when they have money, they don't want to show it. So the Nigerian likes to show off.
Well, you can also argue well, you can also argue from this point, from that point, but nothing comes out of an empty sack except what is in it. So if you don't have, you don't have.
Yes,
you know. So it is because they have exactly. You understand? So that's the fact. And so I think that we should be each other's keeper, and then the security agencies. You see, laws are made when certain things occur within the country. Okay, so when some of these things are happening, we must begin to avert our minds to some of these things, how our rules are very, very lax for foreigners and all that. I'm being very, very careful on this topic because of the sensitive nature of it. Because there are
a lot of Nigerian friends.
Yes, there are a lot of Ghanaians as well in Nigeria. And so if you're not very careful, you'll be seen as something else. And so let's be very careful. But we can also not sacrifice the security of this country on the altar of being patriotic or what do you call it, whatever.
Yeah, I just don't want kidnapping to come to Ghana. I mean, that's my hope.
That's it. And so let's hope that it doesn't.
You want to say a last word before?
Yeah, what I want to say is that I've always mentioned this thing. I think as a country we have to consider it. There must be a council that sort of oversees, that can receive reports or complaints about how the security service handle matters that come before them. You see, there are people who tell me that it looks like when you have an issue with a foreigner, I'll not mention a particular country, and you report to the police, they are treated with a lot of
kids club
than even you. They are welcomed. Why? Because sometimes they are able to pay more, or they are able to. You get what I mean?
This have a way around it.
So, if we have a council like they do in established systems, where you can walk to the council and report that I took my matter to this police station, the conduct of the police makes me unhappy. Then they can investigate. If the report shows that the police person is culpable, I mean, this and this are the punishments, or these are some of the recommendations. My brother, it will stop a lot of deals that are going on. There are very fine policemen, but there are those also who are making people lose faith in the system. And this council thing will help a lot. Instances where a policeman shoots somebody and then the case is referred to the same police council. When you investigate your own, it is difficult to come with a strong hand. So this is what we have to look at. And once citizens know that there is such a council, there's a system at all districts, as the regional and national level, it will help our cause.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Okoboy is a member of parliament for Lejokuku. Thanks for joining me, sir. And also Kobna Minta Kando, he is a member of parliament for Jabo. So thanks for joining me, sir.
Very well.
All right.